my background is in communications, human resources. Regardless of who you supported in the presidential election, we're all women. And I think most of us, if we're aware, can probably agree that she received some pretty bad treatment during the campaign. And so I found myself some nights screaming at the TV because volunteering on the campaign down at headquarters, you saw a whole different story of her campaign than was actually in the media. And what I discovered is that a campaign was going on the internet. It was like real democracy was happening on the internet. It wasn't happening in our media. So what I decided during her concession speech was that I wanted to make a difference in how we as Americans view women and girls, both as women to women and then also as men to women, as human beings, because I don't want to see another woman running for a leadership position again to be treated and disgraced that way. And so what's important to realize about Women's Equality Day is that it's not just about commemorating what has been achieved already, but it is what is our responsibility to move equality on for the next generation in 100 years from now. I would like to read you, if I can get this out here, is the actual resolution from in 1971. The U.S. Congress designated August 26th as Women's Equality Day. The date was selected to commemorate the 1920 passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, granting women the right to vote. This was the culmination of a massive civil rights movement by women that had its formal beginnings in 1848 at the world's first Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, New York. How many people have had an opportunity to go to Seneca Falls and see a museum that is dedicated entirely to women? Let me tell you, there is no better feeling than to walk into our space and see our history alive right there. Powerful when we're divided, hence the name United for Equality, which is a social justice enterprise, if you haven't figured it out yet, committed to the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment by 2015. We can do this. We're going to need help. It'll be a very exciting campaign, but we can do this. So, back to Women's Equality Day. So the observance of this day not only commemorates the passage of the 19th Amendment, but it also calls attention to women's continuing efforts towards full equality. Workplaces, libraries, organizations, and public facilities now participate in this day. This year, because we weren't going to let another year pass, and we thought it would be a better backdrop to be right here in front of the White House to remind President Obama and Michelle that we're here. This is the women's movement in 2010. It's going to grow, and we want our full equality, and we think that he may be just the man to do it. So, whereas the women of the United States have been treated as second-class citizens, by the way, second-class citizens means that we have limited rights compared to other members of our society. Limited rights meaning we didn't have a right to vote, we didn't have a right to own property, we weren't entitled to our wages, we weren't allowed to be educated, we couldn't speak in public, we couldn't serve on juries. All these rights that have been hard fought and won. And the difference is that half of our human race didn't have to go through the struggles that we did to be here today, to have these rights. And we're not there, and we shouldn't settle for being second-class citizens in the 21st century. So, I'm sorry, I digress. So, having been second-class citizens and not entitled to the full rights and privileges, public or private, legal or institutional, which are available to male citizens of the United States. And whereas the women of the United States have designated August 26th, the anniversary date of the passage of the 19th Amendment, as a symbol of the continued fight for equal rights. And whereas the women of the United States are to be commended and supported in their organizations and activities. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that August 26th of each year is designated as Women's Equality Day, and that the President is authorized and requested to issue a proclamation annually in commemoration of that day in 1920, on which the women of America were first given the right to vote, and that day in 1970, on which a nationwide demonstration for women's rights took place.